This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius.
Aquarius. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Come here for a minute.
Me?
I wanna talk to you.
What's the mama say?
Mama says you're brain dead, bang your head against the wall. Can't find peace of mind, brain needs an overhaul. Bonehead, brain dead, we're all the same. You can't think straight when your heart is in pain. Turn around, hit the ground.
Time to lay your burden down.
The views expressed on this broadcast of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show are those of the co-host and guest and do not necessarily reflect those of our affiliates. The topics and opinions on today's show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice. Take 12 Radio is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. And now, here's your host,
The man, the myth, the legend.
the Monty'man.
I'm telling you the truth, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. Good guys, bad boys,
We're all the same. Saved by grace is the name of the game. Turn around, hit the ground. Time to lay your burden down. Welcome, one and all, to the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. Toni is in the studio.
Good morning.
Marv is in the studio.
Good morning.
Denver.
It's been a morning.
It's been a morning.
It has been a morning.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
My sound levels are just weird. I don't understand.
Yeah, my headphones
Everything's weird today.
went up way loud after you did it. Just
Well, you told me to turn them up.
well, I know, but then it went like
Now you want me to turn them down?
just a little bit, just tap. There we go.
Okay. See, it was a placebo. I didn't even touch it.
What's
Yeah,
that word?
huh?
No, I didn't. I'm just kidding.
What's a placebo?
A placebo, it's a fake. It's a like
sugar pill.
If we give you a pill and tell you that it's something, but it's really nothing, and then your body reacts to it like it was something.
Oh, like glucose.
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
So if I tell you, if I give you a pill and it's only made out of sugar, but I tell you it's for your headache, psychologically, your headache may go away.
It's all
It's still
in
not.
the head.
Gee, Tony Willie.
It's all in the head.
Okay. So it
Good Lord.
Lordy. Why is my mic so
Marv.
loud? There we go.
See, I'm telling you.
Chemtrails.
No, I watched them make chemtrails the other day.
Did you?
They're by airplanes.
Yes, they
Yes.
are.
I didn't know that.
They're dumping chemicals. That's why they're called chemtrails.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 Well,
It's
that's
true.
a good idea.
It's true. It really is.
That's a good idea.
I've got my mic turned almost all the way down here, and it's
I'm
just
telling you, it's a weird
blasting.
morning.
It's weird. Okay, there we go. That's better. That's a little better. Is that
Yeah,
better? Is that
that's
better?
You sound the same to me. Perfect.
Sound the same to you?
Perfect.
What about you, Marv?
I don't get it.
About me. Mars back from
What?
from the other end
Marv's
of the
like, I'm
stage.
It's a
done.
weird morning. I don't understand. All right, there we go. Maybe that's better. There we go. All right, and the topic this week is inventory takers, and I'm not talking about those of us who take our inventory. I'm talking about those of us who take other people's inventory.
Right?
Is it okay to take an inventory of someone else? And we're talking primarily to 12-steppers here. People that are in 12-step fellowships know what an inventory is, or at least I hope they do. And then in step 4, we talk about we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves for the purpose of seeing our part in the things that disturb us in the things we're afraid of and in the wrongs that perhaps we took part in, so we can prepare to admit these things to God, ourselves, and another person, and to continue on in a program of recovery that requires an amends process. And so inventory is very important. Our tendency as human beings, however, is to take each other's inventory and be maybe a little too quick to point out what you're doing wrong before we work on ourselves. Now, the Good Book talks about this when it says, before you try to take the log out of your brother's eye, or the speck out of your brother's eye, take the log out of your own. In other words, your side of the street needs to be clean before you start, trying to point out issues that the other person has. It doesn't say not to point them out. It doesn't say that we're not to do that, but it does say that we are to check ourselves first. So is it appropriate to take inventory of other people? Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll talk about that here in a minute. And what about people that have a tendency to do that on a regular basis? Be known a few. I've been one of those few.
Been a couple of those times.
I think we all have.
So we're gonna be talking about that today. So I want to thank Jill P. from Bellingham, Washington.
Oh, that's almost near my hometown.
Oh, that's right. That's where you
Bellingham's way up there. That's my
It
Canada.
is way up there. She donated $75 to Take 12 Radio last week. The very day that the show aired, when we expressed that we needed donations, she jumped on it. So, Jill, thank you so much for that. Which brings me to this point.
And people may not think that's a lot, but that's a lot of money.
It is. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, it is. $75 is a lot of money for me. Mm-hmm. And it pains me to do this, but I'm going to have to do this until we can get caught up on our bills here. This is that time of year when all this stuff starts coming due. And so the listeners, if you're brand new to the show, you won't know this. If you've been listening for a while, you do, but it bears repeating. Nobody gets a paycheck here. This is all volunteer. Every penny that we receive goes to keep Take 12 Recovery Radio on the air. It goes to equipment maintenance. It goes to maintenance of the office and the audio booth. It goes to our expenses to keep us operating. And this year, it's been very slim. We've got a couple of folks that do reoccurring donations, and we appreciate you so, so much. We've got a couple of platinum sponsors, but it's been very slim, and we're getting dangerously close to some things being. Now, you know what? Here's the great thing about it. I'm really not worried about it, but I also believe that you receive not because you ask not, and it's okay to speak up and say, "I need help," and that's an issue we have in recovery a lot of times. Is we don't want to tell each other when we need help. Yeah, and it may not be necessarily financial. It may be, just emotional support or moving a couch or, I don't want to ask anybody for help. We need to be able to learn how to do that. So, the way you can help us financially, if you're so inclined, is to first pray about it and make sure that you're not taking from your needs to help us. We don't ever want you to do that. But if you feel that God is laying it on your heart to help support Take 12 Recovery Radio, just go to take12radio.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and click on the donate button, and I'll tell you there are several ways you can do that. And we would appreciate it very, very, very much. So thank you, Jill, from Bellingham, Washington.
Thank you, Jill.
For answering the call to that. Very, very appreciated. Yes. Let's see here. What's
Stop
next?
right there.
Okay.
It's time for Monty'man's Weekly Wine.
The baby.
That's almost as funny as the baby when you say that.
It never gets old.
Okay, so anybody got anything to whine about? Anybody? Marv?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Tony?
Can I do that on there?
If you want to.
Businesses who treat you horribly after you've been there loyally.
Yeah, when you been a loyal employee or business partner or whatever,
It kind of stings.
and you bend over backwards and you work and work and work to make them look good, and then they treat you like the enemy. Yeah, it's never fun. That's a legitimate whine. How about you, Denver? Any whining to do this week?
No.
None.
I got a lot, but
I know
Nah,
Denver's
You
like,
keep saying that.
I'm saving my picnic basket up for one beautiful day.
one beautiful wine. One beautiful wine.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I've got
That's going to
one.
be a whole bottle of wine. Okay, I get it.
Oh, brother.
Had to go there.
So my wine has to do with fish and chips.
What's wrong with fish and chips?
I love fish and chips. But here's the thing. So on the menu, and this is not just limited to one restaurant. Lots of restaurants do
I was going to
this.
say, are you putting this at one direct?
No, this is a lot of them.
All right.
So you have a caption at the top of the menu that says dinner entrees. Okay, and below the entree thing, it says all meals include the following, and I'll have a list of stuff that's
Coleslaw and things of such.
Yeah. So this particular menu, along with many others, reads your choice of French fries, mashed potatoes, choice of vegetable, and maybe onion rings or something like that, right? Okay, so you go down and there's several different entrees. One of the entrees is fish and chips.
What?
Okay, so the fish and chips means fish usually and French fries of some kind.
Correct.
Okay, so you would think that if this includes a choice of these other items, I should be able to ask for extra French fries, right? Because the entree is fish and chips, right? The meal includes choice of French fries, mashed potatoes, coleslaw, whatever your choice is. So I don't want the coleslaw. I don't want the mashed potatoes. I want the French fries that goes with my fish and chips. That's a double order of French fries.
He's already.
Well, doesn't that just make sense, Marv? So they go, we're sorry, sir, but it comes with fries. I go, that's my point. Now, I can have fries with the steak and mashed potatoes, but I can't have mashed potatoes with the steak and mashed potatoes. You see what I'm saying? It's not right. It's very irritating.
Wait, did you get two choices or just one?
Well, yeah, you get two choices. You get these sides. You
so
get these
they're
sides.
saying, like, if you wanted fries, you can't get extra fries? Is that what you're-
No, but it says but I can get coleslaw. Well, why can't I get the fries that are up there? You try to explain this to a waitress who just graduated elementary school, evidently. She can't put it together. She's like, I don't understand.
You went to McGrath's then, too.
I'm not saying where.
Oh man, there's
Burn
the
them
bus.
down.
I'm sorry.
Burn them down.
Okay, so it's the same principle as the pizza problem. Okay. So you go into a pizzeria of your choice, right? And you
You're
order
gonna redo this, aren't
you order a large pepperoni pizza.
That
But you
happened.
only want half pepperoni, half cheese. So I say, take the pepperoni from the one side and put it with the pepperoni on the other
You're
side.
going back there.
So the one side actually has extra pepperoni. But now they want to charge you for extra pepperoni. No. I'm ordering a pepperoni pizza. Just move the pepperoni from one side and put it on the other side. Well, that's extra pepperoni. No, it's not. It's the same pepperoni.
Marv is laughing.
I don't understand.
Marv, our generation gets the math on this. It's pretty simple, but
I am telling. And so then they point to a sign on the wall that says "No substitutes," right? And you say, "Why can't you do that?" Well, the sign says so. The sign says so.
But it's not a substitute.
Can you think for yourself? Evidently not. So does a sign your paycheck? I don't know.
Well,
It's
at
just weird.
McDonald's, you never know. The sign code, sign the paycheck.
Could be the end of times as
It
we
could-
know them.
It could be the.
I'm sorry. If you get a giggle out of Marv, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it could be the end of times.
Oh boy, oh boy. So I guess we better have a win, right? We got to have a win. All right. So the win this week is we had a fabulous time at Recovery in the Park. Marv did not show up.
As Monty takes a drink of his bang.
Marv was having a good time down in
Hey,
where?
I won with
Fort
y'all.
Klamath.
Fort Klamath.
We
Fort
said you
Klamath.
were in Medford.
Yeah.
And what'd you say? You said something like what? And what's Medford or something? I said he's getting he's getting
Medicated in a Ford.
He's medicated in a
I
Ford.
didn't get it until I
Medford.
listened to it after the show,
Right?
like at home. And I was like, oh. And James had the light come on. I was like, I thought that was really what he did.
So he was down. He was down in that part of the country,
medicating.
medicating in a Ford. But anyway, no.
I felt so
Recovery in
dumb
the
after
Park. We had they estimated about 1,200 people this year, so it went up about 200.
That's a wonderful number.
Yeah, and it was down at Monteith Park, at Monteith River Park in Albany, Oregon. And we have a recap meeting actually tomorrow at 11 o'clock to kind of look at some of the things we did right and kind of look at some of the things that we can improve on and start forming some ad hoc committees for next year. So
Well, the
they've never done that.
tables with the hot dogs was like overrated.
I loved the hot dogs.
I did too.
Well, I know, but
Especially
they
our
should've
waitress.
had-
Our waitress,
Our waitress
that
was-
kept
pretty-
going back getting us hot dogs.
I
was
sold
good.
hot dogs. Oh, okay, I didn't steal.
We
them.
go. Toni brought us hot dogs, and then we go, can you go get some more? So she brought us some more, and then we go, can you go get some more? And she brought us more.
But the two tables, that was ridiculous. You should have had them coming from both sides instead of just one, and then having.
Well,
two
that's why you
tables.
need a kitchen coordinator, so to
Yeah.
speak, and so we're going to work on that too. So next year
Well,
will
that's
be.
where I got all the hot dogs from. Was that second table?
So
I came back
fun
with
was had
6
by
hot
all.
dogs at one point,
Yeah.
and then I put some in James's.
Oh, wait, what'd you say?
I put some in James's pocket.
You said stole.
I didn't say that.
Oh, yes, you did.
Oh.
I
Oh,
heard
It's
it.
on the tape.
It's on. You want us to rewind and play?
Listen to it tonight. It's there.
I permanently deleted 6 hot dogs. Okay.
All right, so we're going to take a break and talk about the upcoming wonderful music CD that's coming out in approximately 2 weeks. And then we're going to play a little trivia. Then we'll get to the topic, inventory takers. So don't go away. Check it out.
Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
Hey, coming very soon is something very exciting and a little bit weird. It's Cecil Sings with songs like Sweet Caroline, Hotel California,
Welcome to the Hotel California.
You Got a Friend in Me,
You got a friend in me.
The Piano Man,
Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song.
and Cecil's favorite, The Rainbow Connection.
Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Cecil Sings is a collection of iconic songs that are sure to put a smile on your face. Right, Cecil?
That's right, Monty'man. And tell the folks the best part.
Well, Cecil, the best part is Cecil Sings is absolutely free.
That's right, Monty'man. And tell them how they can get it. Go ahead, tell them.
I am. Don't get pushy. Simply go to take12radio.com and click on Follow Me on Podomatic. Once there, sign up for free to our podcast by clicking on the follow button. You can even download our app for iOS or Android, so you can take 12 Recovery Radio on the go. Once you become a Podomatic member, you can download Cecil Sings. Just scroll the page until you find Cecil Sings. And that's it.
And Montyman, folks can donate to help keep our shows on the air by clicking on the PayPal button or by visiting our main website at take12radio.com. And at the bottom of the page, they can click on the donate button. We would really appreciate it.
So don't miss out. Keep your ears and eyes open because Cecil Sings will be made available very soon.
Very soon. All right, everybody, it's time for Take 12 Trivia, brought to you by that award-winning recovery magazine, the 12-Step Gazette. Visit their website at 12stepgazette.com. Now take it away, the Monty'man.
Here we go. 4th of July trivia. All right. Here's your first one.
Bang, bang, boom, boom.
Yeah. John Hancock was the only member of the Continental Congress to formally sign the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. True or false?
Did that really happen on July 4th?
What did I just say?
No, that was a serious question.
John Hancock was the only member of the Continental Congress to formally sign the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776.
Well,
Is that
I'll say
true
true, obviously, because people have to
or
be.
false?
I'm going to say false.
You say
Yeah.
false?
The only one? No, I don't believe so. I believe there was more signatures that day.
Tony, you're correct.
Really?
You guys are not correct.
Didn't even know nothing about that, huh?
The other signers of the Declaration did not formally sign it until August 2nd, 1776.
They're
John
late.
Hancock was the only signer on the 4th of July.
Uh-huh. And people thought I was the stupid one.
Hence the comment, you're John Hancock.
Yes.
Put your John Hancock on.
All right, here's number 2. The now American celebrated song Yankee Doodle.
Who's that?
Oh, boy.
Is that a person?
Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony.
My grandma used to sing that song.
Okay, so now you're on the same page. Okay, the American celebrated song Yankee Doodle was originally written by officers of the British Army. Why did they write the song? Here's your choices. Doodle rhymed with noodle and they loved their strudel.
I'm going with that one.
Where do you get this? Where do you get this stuff?
Oh my god, that's the best thing I've heard on the show in like almost 2.5 years.
Okay, that's A. B is your second choice. To make fun of backwards Americans. Or C, they were bored and actually had nothing better to do.
What's a backward American?
I think they were making fun.
Yeah, I think I go with Marv.
The British were making fun of us? Okay, what do you say, Denver?
Yeah, they were poking at us.
Yeah, you guys are right. They were making fun of us. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the British Army was making fun of us. All right, here's number 3. Excuse me. How many hot dogs would you...
6.
Marv's even laughing.
Come on, you guys.
Oh, my gosh. How many hot dogs would you guess are consumed on the 4th of July in the U.S.? Here's your choices. Here's your choices. 25 million, 75 million, or 250 million. What do you think, Marv?
250.
Tony?
I go with Marv because I nicely borrowed 6 of them.
6 of the 250 million? What do you think there, Denver?
God.
25, 75, or 250? Little hot doggies.
Remember the 6 I took.
That's just for the day?
That's for the day, yeah.
Yeah, go with the top number because I consume about 6 a
Yeah, you guys are right. 250 million and up. It's a lot of wieners.
That's a lot of Oscar Mayer.
All right, and here's your bonus. What is what is the proper and most respected name of this holiday? And here are your choices.
Oh, I know this one.
The 4th of July, Freedom Day, or Independence Day? Tony?
Independence Day.
Denver?
It made a great Hollywood movie. I'm going with Independence.
Marv?
Yeah.
Yes, it is actually called Independence Day. 4th of July. It's
Three
just the
rings.
date on the calendar. It is Independence Day, where we celebrate our independence.
That's what I would name my horse.
Independence Day?
Uh-huh.
Ooh. That sounds like a cool name for a
know.
horse. Tony, you can't have a horse. James, she can't have a horse. There we go. Okay. Hey, listen, coming up in Lifeline Connections alumni invite everyone in recovery to the 4th annual summer barbecue. Food, fun, raffles, games, face painting, Tony, a dunk tank for Denver, and a bouncy house for Marv. Celebrating recovery and providing a fun, safe, social event for people in recovery. It's a fundraising event sponsored by Lifeline Connections alumni, with proceeds going to support future recovery-focused events for families. This is at the Faith Center in Vancouver, Washington, from 3 to 6 p.m., July 28th. So we're going to be talking about that until the event. July 28th, Lifeline Connections. They're part of the Southwest Washington Recovery Coalition thing that we go to. Yeah. So
Cool.
a 4th annual summer BBQ for that. And I would be what would I be?
Missiled, apparently.
I would be
Obviously.
Remiss. That's the way. If I didn't mention number 13, 12, and 11 of the top 19 things people complain about while on summer vacation.
Oh, yeah. Let's not forget that little bit.
Yes. Here's number 13. I compared the size of our 1-bedroom suite to our friend's 3-bedroom, and ours was significantly smaller. Why?
Because how old were they? I mean, doing the math,
Can you imagine being at the front desk and hearing this?
and they're smaller.
Our 1-bedroom suite is smaller than our friend's 3-bedroom suite, and we want to know why.
I would laugh in their face.
I believe you.
We are laughing.
Yeah, here's number 12. It took us 9 hours to fly home from Jamaica to England. It took the Americans only 3 hours to get home.
Oh, once again, math.
This seems unfair.
Wait, is that racist?
I don't think so.
No. But it is a problem with math. All right.
Yeah.
How many Americans were there?
Yeah, that
Wait, was America closer?
Yes.
well, evidently it took 9 hours for the Jamaicans to go home. Then
Yeah, I'm doing.
I don't know math
Alright.
good.
I'm doing the math.
all right, number 11 in the top 19. This complaint was the roads were uneven and bumpy, so we could not read the local guidebook during the bus ride to the resort. Because of this, we were unaware of many things that would have made our holiday more fun.
That's sad. I feel bad for
I
them.
can't read the map.
Put the bottle down. Put the bottle down.
Next week we'll do number 10, 9, and
All
8.
right, let's get them
I'm
done.
going to miss this list when it's gone. Okay.
All right, inventory takers is the topic this week. Inventory takers, people that take other people's inventory. All right, so let me ask you guys this. Have you ever had somebody in a very uncomfortable, unpleasant way take your inventory and call you out on something that you felt they really had no business doing? Ever experienced that? Marv's thinking.
He is, too.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
yeah, I'm thinking.
Maybe we ought to jot that down. Yeah, I think probably a few times, maybe.
Yeah. Tony, what about you? Anybody take your inventory? Made you uncomfortable and thought, wow, who are they?
This is a daily occurrence at my work all the time. But no.
You don't work there.
Well, not in 7 hours. In 2 days, I won't.
Yay!
But no, you know, I think it's a daily occurrence with anybody all the time. And it is with me because my family does it for me all the time. They take my inventory, but I don't think they have a right to.
Okay. Denver, what about you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I have. And you know what? Sometimes I reflect back, and they probably should have helped me know about it. But there have been plenty of times that it really, I don't feel personally, they probably should have told me that I had a problem and I need to take care of this, because I'm living with that problem.
Yeah.
During this change in my life or whatever's going on. But yeah, there's plenty of people out there that has taken my inventory. Some of them just blurted it out. And
Sure.
it didn't do me any good. All it did was cause a resentment, and that just builds.
So, would it have done some good if their approach was a little different?
Always.
Okay.
Our approach with any issue, you come in soft,
Right.
I mean, seriously, obviously there was a blatant, they felt, and there could have been an issue. So, some people just are ready to tell you you're messing up. And most of us in recovery, we know we're messing up, and we didn't need to be hit that hard.
So that almost sounds like it isn't the taking of the inventory that's necessarily wrong. It's more of the approach.
It is most often
the approach.
You can inventory, and you can help inventory people, and I'm sure as we go on with this conversation today, we'll talk more about that. But yeah, your approach on talking with somebody about an issue can make or break the whole situation.
So let's flip it. Have you ever taken somebody's inventory?
I just did.
Sure. Marv, you ever taken somebody's inventory and just were like...
Wow. Wait, what was that?
I have.
Yeah, me too. Toni, you done it?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
I still do it. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to admit that, like, I don't do it anymore.
Sure.
Like, I had a rant this morning about inventory, so.
Right.
I'm ready?
Yeah.
All right. It's not about being perfect on the inventory, because sometimes we need to take inventory and help others. But once again, it gets back to the approach.
Yeah.
If you see somebody blatantly harming themselves or something, if you come in and approach them right because you love them, or they're going to kill somebody else or whatever's going on, inventory is a good thing.
Sure.
It really is. And it can help somebody. But it can also, if you jump in too quick, and I have taken it, and I still will always do it, some of it's good, too. I don't know. Sometimes I inventory my quick thought about somebody, and it's safe. I realize, all right, you're not safe. I need to step away from this issue. So, yeah, I've taken plenty of inventories. I've prejudged people. And as I get down the line, I think, oh, man, you know what? This person just needs help. He doesn't need what I thought he needed.
Right. So I think there's a difference between making an observation and coming across with condemnation towards somebody, condemning them.
Big word right there, condemnation.
Yeah. It's interesting to me. I was watching one of my least favorite talk shows, and being a broadcaster, I make it my business to listen to a lot of different talk shows, even ones I don't like.
I was going to say, why are you listening to it?
Well, because I want to hear the other side of things, and, it's just kind of, it piques my interest, and I want to be informed. And there is this one particular daytime talk show. There's this one lady on there that she's always quoting from the book of Matthew, "Judge not, lest ye be judged," and yet, as far as following any other kind of biblical concept, she is far from it. But she throws that verse around, like that's her default go-to about everything. Well, you can't be judging people. Don't judge. The Bible says not to judge. Well, she's wrong about that. She's taking that out of context. And I know people that use that verse, but they don't live by any other Bible verse, but they live by that one. And they use it as a defense mechanism because they don't want you to call them on their baloney. And so they'll throw that in your face. We are called to make judgment calls. And we've talked about this before. We are called to make judgment calls every single day. What we're not called to do is condemn. And even in the area of judgment, we're not always the person that perhaps is the one that's
judge.
The one that we may make the judgment call, but we may not be the one that needs to be making the approach. Sometimes we may be right about the judgment call we're making, but it may be that we're being made aware of that because God wants us to pray for the person, not because God wants us to confront the person. And so that takes some experience and some practice to know when to do that, when to keep our mouths shut, and when to pray for that individual. So, the Bible is very clear also that Christians, so I'm speaking to all those that are listening that are born-again believers here, that we are to judge one another. We are to take one another's inventory and hold each other accountable. Firm, but never harsh. Kindly, in a loving manner. That doesn't mean we're patting each other on the bottom. It means that we confront when we need to, but we do it in a loving way. But we're not to do that with people that are not believers, because why would we? Why would we? That would be like expecting the guy that mows my lawn to understand the plumbing in my basement. Why can't you fix my plumbing? Because I'm not a plumber. I'm a lawn care guy. So why don't you act like a Christian? Because I'm not a Christian. Well, then I shouldn't expect him to act like a Christian, right? So we're not to judge the world. We are to hold each other accountable. And so do you want to call that inventory? I guess. But I think what we have to be careful with is, as we are making these observations about one another, are we taking them before God and asking Him to direct what we do? Or are we just jumping and pointing our bony finger at somebody in a harsh, judgmental manner and condemning them? And I do believe that we're all capable of doing that because we're emotional people. The Big Book talks about alcoholics are very emotional, But is it okay to take inventory? I think it absolutely is. I tell my sponsees, I said, listen to what's being said in a meeting. Take inventory of what's being said, not for the purpose of malice or condemnation, but to help use this in your own recovery. There's things that you don't want to do, and there's things that you don't want to repeat, and you need to be able to take inventory to do that. Now, so is it the inventory that's wrong, or is it the approach? And I think it's the approach that's right or wrong, not the inventory. My sponsor, I was dealing with a gentleman. This was probably about towards the end of my first year in the rooms. And this guy was just constantly coming up to me and pointing these things out. And just, I had just had it. And I went to my sponsor and I said, what do I do with this guy? And he said, all right, this is what I'm going to suggest you do. Whenever he approaches you about something that you're doing, simply say, thank you. I'll consider that. I said, well, I can do that. He goes, both parts? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, what part can you say? And I said, well, I can say thank you. So what I really want you to do is consider it. Now, that was rough because I wanted to say thank you, I'll consider that, just kind of blow him off, to get him off my case. But my sponsor wanted me to really consider, go home and really consider what the guy said. And if he was right, maybe I do need to work on that. And if he's wrong, no harm done. So that's one way you can approach it if somebody is calling you on stuff and you really haven't given them permission to, they're being harsh is just simply say, thank you. I'll consider that. Your thoughts, Toni?
Well, I mean, that's a huge thing to say. Thank you. I'll consider that.
Sure it is. Especially to mean it.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can say it, but to mean it is a whole different world. Like, especially what I'm going through right now. It's like, I have so much anger and resentment.
You got people that are just being mean to you.
Yeah.
And that's not the same thing. That's just malice and mean.
That, but to just say thank you and I'll consider that, that's a big statement.
Well, I think there's a time when it's okay to tell somebody it's not okay to talk to me in that manner.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to do that. If somebody is being vicious, cruel, harsh, it's all right to say, you know what? That doesn't work for me.
There's another word. Confused.
It's confusing, or they're confused?
Yeah, it's confusing.
Right.
Yeah. Because, for somebody just to say that statement and not have anything to back up, sometimes I think is wrong. And to work so hard for something, I don't know.
Yeah. Marv?
Yes, sir.
Oh, he didn't say what.
It's just hard.
Have you ever... Go ahead.
What I was just thinking about, though, is for the most part, those of us that are in AA or NA or any
12-step fellowship,
trying to move forward, and even if we've accepted Christ or not, here's the thing: a lot of people growing up did not have an inventory taken on an affirmative side.
Oh, you bet.
It was always
negative.
Always negative.
Why can't you be like your brother?
So,
Why can't you?
That's a great point.
I get personally a little bit uncomfortable in my own head.
Sure.
When I hear things like what you just got through saying. But the thing about it is what you just got through saying is truth.
Yeah.
The problem is people like me are broken, and I don't know that I can do that. Thank you. I'll consider it. I don't, because I'm not the same guy I used to be, but I've been so programmed for self-defense.
Oh my God.
Self-defense, yeah.
And to be able to humbly take that.
It's not easy.
Affirmative way.
Yeah.
He said it perfectly. And my background of how I grew up, I'm glad you said programmed. And James will actually agree with this one.
Because you were programmed like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At the age of 3. So thank you, Marv, for saying that. Because people don't understand upbringing and then being programmed. It's two totally different worlds.
Sure. And the other thing I was going to say, I will not myself, unless there's danger to life or unsafe situation, I will not verbally say that to somebody.
Point something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, confrontation is a bad thing for me.
Right.
But what I will do, I've noticed people take confidence in me, and they will come up and talk to me about stuff that has to do with, really, they're taking their own inventory. They've got a problem with what's going on, and they want to talk about it and do something.
Yeah.
Then I'll approach it.
Because then you kind of have the green light.
Yes.
To do so. Yeah. Yeah. And
I don't always tell them what they want to hear either.
Right. I'm sure.
But like you said, the door's been open.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, and I agree, and I think, and I'll be really honest, that I've had several opportunities where I did say thank you, I'll consider that, but I can't tell you that it was all peaches and cream.
Right.
Because in my head, I'm thinking, well, you jerk. I'm saying the words because my sponsor told me to say the words, kind of like act as if, right? But inside, I'm just thinking,
I'm going to burn you down.
I'm going to burn you, you snake in the grass,
Oh, howdy.
Oh, gee. Yeah, because we are defensive. Part of that is because if we've grown up having to protect ourselves or, protect our emotions, and if we don't know any better, we only know what we know, and I think this kind of speaks to that attitude that some of us have experienced, what I call the shut up and sit down attitude, that at one time, I don't know, I haven't heard it in a while, but at one time it was kind of prevalent within the 12-step rooms where you would get some, pseudo old-timer. That's somebody that's been around a while time-wise, but really isn't an old-timer as far as really knowing the program. They just are as far as time goes, and they would say something like, you're brand new. You have nothing to say. Sit down, shut up, take the cotton out of your ears, shove it in your mouth, and listen, or that kind of. That's a form of being an inventory taker. You don't know me when I walked in there. You don't know. When I walked into the rooms of the 12 steps, you could crush me with a word. And if somebody had told me that on my first day, I may not be alive today. Was I wearing my emotions on my sleeve? Sure I was. Mm-hmm. I didn't know any other way to do it. And so thank goodness that didn't happen to me. Yeah.
And this is just very random. And I don't know if it has anything to do with anything we're talking about, but I would like to point out to people that don't know or don't understand.
Yeah.
Not to put people down. Because we're going through this.
Right.
You don't know what they're going through.
We don't know what people are going through.
And it's harsh that people do that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially normal people.
Normal?
Well,
people that think they're normal.
Normal?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just jump in. But that's what I get a lot.
Right. So when people act that way, when people take your inventory,
especially when they're family,
in a destructive manner, is it possible that they're in great pain?
I don't know.
You think never, maybe? Sometimes people treat other people out of their pain?
We lash out, all right?
Yeah.
That's just
I'm sorry.
It's our human response, and we put up that defense mechanism. Somebody comes and says, oh, I love what your sponsor said there about thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll consider
that. I was dwelling on that. That's hard to say thank you when there's this...
When you're not feeling very thankful.
I really don't want to hear that from you, all right?
Right.
Because I'm already inventorying what you just did yesterday.
Yeah.
All right? But I want to add that when somebody says that, and if you can get past the fact that you're taking their inventory too, when you said,
good point.
When you said, would you consider it? That gives you an opportunity to take your inventory.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you don't have to put up this force field or anything else. If you can get in your walk to a point where, all right, I'm going to be humble enough. I'm going to be humble enough to say thank you and take a step back and possibly realize what this person is telling you. Their approach may be wrong in your eyes, or it just may be too harsh, or whatever's going on in your life. Is the fact that maybe if you can step back and take a little personal inventory and go, all right, maybe I do need to take a look at that closer.
Sure.
So I understand it's hard to say thank you when you're not feeling very thankful about what just came in your face.
Yeah, and really, to be honest, when somebody does that to me, I don't immediately default to, oh, thank you so much.
No.
Right? I'm not pulling out a 3x5 card and working a 4-step around it right then.
On that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm driving fast on the way home. I'm
exactly.
cussing them out.
Sorry, guys.
I'm eating
takes a while
4
to
extra
deep
burgers because I'm upset
Oh my gosh!
over this.
I am telling you, I cannot tell you how many times I've ordered 2 Whoppers
Yeah.
I love Whoppers.
because somebody
Upset you.
pushed my buttons.
Yeah. So
But you shouldn't repeat it, though, to somebody, though.
this is difficult because we do put up that force field, and I really don't like being told that I'm doing something wrong, even if I am. So it's.
But you shouldn't be reminded of what you did wrong though, all the time.
No. There comes a point when that's just abuse.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Well, and if you are doing something deliberately that you should not be doing, and it's deliberate, and it is affecting the group as a whole, right? There is a proper way to go about that, whether it's a church setting, Rotary Club, AA, whatever it is. There's usually a formula within organizations on how to deal with somebody that's doing that. And it's probably not your job to tie them to your bumper and drag them around town. You know what I mean?
That sounds like a dead dog.
Well, there's people that will do that. I mean,
And that's what I was trying to say earlier. And especially when it's family that does it, it just hurts.
So there is a place in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous in the 4th step that talks about how to deal with difficult people. And it says perhaps the people that have wronged us are perhaps spiritually sick. And though we did not like their symptoms, remember what a symptom is. That's the outward manifestation of an inward condition. That's not the problem. Right. That's the outward manifestation of the problem. So the symptom might be they're taking your inventory, or they're constantly condemning you, or they're telling you to shut up, or whatever it is they're doing. Though we did not like their symptoms and the way they affected us, they, like ourselves, and that's the key piece, we're sick too. So now all of a sudden the playing field is level. I'm no better. I'm no worse. I get it. Now, the way they're affecting, now, there are people that have talked to me in a way I would never talk to anybody and never have. But there'd be other areas of my life that I do things that they may never do. So I have to realize that at the foot of the cross, the playing field is level. And so that, and again, I don't think like that when I'm in the middle of it. It's after I come home and, Marcia says, settle down, that I kind of process it, and then I'm able to do it. I wish I could immediately, really mean it and say, gee, thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. I'll consider that. You know what? You are a gift to my life. I really wish I could say that and mean it. Truth be told, probably not so much. Not at least in the middle. I love you so much. Thank you for being so critical. But the fact is, people are going to take our inventory. It's kind of the nature of
and we're going to take theirs.
And we're going to take theirs.
It's going to happen.
And just because I was sitting in an AA meeting one day, and it was one of those meetings where the F word was coming out of everybody's mouth, ears, nose. I mean, it was one of those meetings. It was just like, what is going on? Everybody was just, it was just a rough day for people. And they were spewing all this ugly verbiage out. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with you? But do you know what? In my head, I wasn't speaking it.
You were saying F.
But I was saying, what's wrong with you? Blankety, blank, blank, blank. In my mind. And what's the word of God said? If we think it, it's like we've done it. So I was just as guilty. And it was all over my face. I mean, people are looking at me like, and somebody called on me and I said, I'll pass. Oh yeah. That spoke volumes right there.
And you stopped by and got some cheeseburgers on the way home.
You darn right I did.
Never go to my family reunion, I can tell you that much.
So, there's going to be people that are looking. In fact, the graphic that is on the YouTube version of this show has a guy with a pair of binoculars looking straight at you. There are people that are going to look at us through magnifying glasses, and they're waiting to see what we're going to do. And as people that have a relationship with the Creator, people that are boasting that our relationship with God is the greatest thing that's ever happened to us, they're wanting to see if we're the real deal. And they're watching us. And some of them will try to bait us to see what'll happen.
Yeah.
So we have a responsibility to, at the very least, ask God for help when this happens to us. And I don't know about you guys, but I fail miserably more than I succeed. So my inventory in that area is that I need my headphones to work better. I need God's help in dealing with people that are difficult that do that. And then I got to watch out that I'm not doing it too. And it's hard because, and Toni, you and I talked about it before the show. People are losing their minds. People are just, and that's an observation that I'm making. People are just getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And we joke about it. We say we blame it on chemtrails, and that may or may not be the reason. But there is something going on, and it's not pretty.
No.
And so the sicker people become, the more patience and more prayer and more tolerance we need to show.
Amen.
You know, we really do.
What do horses do, Bruce? Oh my
Bruce.
God, I don't even know where that came from. Marv. Oh my God.
Bruce is among us.
Right?
What
He
do
must be.
What do horses do when people take their inventory?
They walk away.
Do they walk away, Marv?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
All four.
Or
moves.
run. I don't know.
Gallop.
Gallop.
Actually, it don't do any good to talk to horses.
So I was listening to something. It was in the background on the radio about horse whispering and stuff, and they were talking about their eyes are independent of each other.
What?
They like one eye can move one way and the other one move another way. Is that true?
I've never seen that. No,
That
I
our
don't-
eyes move.
He's had normal horses.
Like when we look in one direction, both eyes move, but they can actually
Oh, they do.
separate it or something. And they were talking about developing trust with a horse. When their eyes do this, then you're starting to develop trust or something. So I thought, I'm going to bounce that off more. You know,
I'm trying to move my eyes different ways right now.
because not everything you hear on TV or the radio is true. Look into that, will you, Marv? Just let me see your horse. Hey, look over here.
At least with one eye.
You can't do it. I'm actually trying to move my eyes.
Have you ever seen a cross-eyed horse?
No, I haven't.
No?
What does that mean?
Where their eyes are like this.
Oh.
Yeah, cross-eyed.
He actually did it.
I know.
He's not a horse.
All right. So bouncing off of what a friend of mine is doing on Sunday mornings, I thought this would be a good opportunity for next week. So listeners, listen, we're going to call next week's show. You asked for it. If you got a question about recovery, if you got a question about AA, if you got a question about NA, if you got a question about Celebrate Recovery, if you got a question about sobriety, if you got a question about horses, whatever your question is, try to keep it, associated with recovery in some realm. Send in your question and we'll read them on the air next week. And we'll do our best as a panel of four
This
here
should be interesting.
We'll diligently give it a whirl.
to answer your questions. So we're probably not going to be doing any investigation into the questions because I know people's nature is to send the email in the day before. So we're going to probably be kind of going off the cuff here. But you asked for it as the name of the show next week. And if you have a question about anything that has to do with recovery, please ask us. And so you can do that by going to our email, take12radio@comcast.net.
This is going to be dangerous.
You can also go to our Facebook at Take 12 Radio or our Instagram at Take 12 Radio and ask a question as well. And then we'll
Field those questions.
we'll check out those questions and we'll do our best to answer them next week on Monday's show.
I'm sorry in advance.
I'm sorry in advance, she said.
I'm anxious.
Okay, our closing song is by the late, great Roy Buchanan, and it is entitled Man on the Floor.
Remember me, I'm the one down on the floor, telling these people that I ain't there no more. Calling on the street, just about to lose my mind. Well, I found something that started at the end of time.
By Mr. Roy Buchanan. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty'man along with the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we are wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
Good guys, bad boys, we're all the same. Saved by grace is the name of the game. Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
'Cause she's a super cat, she's super kitty, meow.
Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Meow.